Iconic, this beat slaps. Dope ass beat. Logic sounds hungrier than ever on this track. Lyrically, he's going in.
It's all logic, lyrical, spitting.
Flow wise, he's going in. The beat is matching the energy. What is good, guys? It is Esteban Xound here with another album review. Now I know this one is super late, but I wanted to touch on this album. I've been lacking, I won't lie. I haven't made a video in a couple weeks, trying to find the motivation to get up and do these videos. I won't even lie, but I'm here. Before we get into anything, remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share the video. Let us know what you want to see reviewed next. Get into the comment section, hit me up through Instagram or Twitter or however you can get a hold of me. And with that being said, this is the Logic Young Sinatra 4 album review. I'd say I'm a semi-fan of Logic. I enjoyed his earlier projects, the Young Sinatra series mixtapes. I enjoyed his debut album a lot. That was my first review that I ever did. You can see that in the Throwback series. I'll put a link in the description for the Throwback series video. That was the first review we ever did. It was the first album that I went out with my own money and bought an album for. So I have a history with Logic as far as being a fan. After the Incredible True Story, which was a dope album, again, Under Pressure, a dope album, I stopped paying attention. Logic kind of released some iffy projects. It wasn't until he brought back the Young Sinatra series on this album that I was really interested with what Logic was gonna say. I was like, okay, let me see what this is gonna be. Hopefully we get some dope boom bap tracks, some dope classic samples like we did in the previous Logic Young Sinatra projects. So when I first heard the album, I really enjoyed the majority of it. It felt like an experience from top to bottom, and it felt like an insight into Logic's world. So I really enjoyed that. It definitely felt modern. It didn't feel like he was trying to relive any sort of old glory days. It felt very up to date as far as where Logic is. And it felt like he made a lot of the tracks that he always wanted to make finally happen. And I'll explain that as I go on into the review. Dope project when I first heard it. After a few listens, I started to realize what Logic was doing technically on the album. I felt like Logic exercised a lot of freedom on the album as far as the concepts, the features, the structure of the tracks, and it definitely stays true to the Young Sinatra series. Just being an older Logic fan, I hate to sound like one of those guys, but I enjoyed hearing him over these type of tracks again, just rapping. The one thing I'll say, and this is the one complaint I had first listening to it, regardless of how dope these tracks are, they seemed a little bit all over the place. It would jump from one track to the next without any sort of clear, coherent concept. I know it's a mixtape, or at least it stays true to the mixtape feel, so I appreciate that and I understand that. I just wish it would have been a little more coherent. Just nitpicking. My favorite tracks, Everybody Dies, a dope, energetic, interesting track, just a way to open up the album. The Return, a dope boom bap track. Logic is passionate on this track. His vocal inflection sounds like Mos Def on this track. My second favorite track lyrically on the album. Wu-Tang Forever, a dope nod to the Wu-Tang era, the Wu-Tang Clan. He was able to get a dope posse cut with all the members. Now the instrumental wasn't doing very much. It kind of just got the job done. At the same time, just to get all the Wu-Tang members on the track, that's an accomplishment in itself. So that was a dope track just for hip hop. Any hip hop head, I think, would appreciate this track. 100 Miles and Running, a fun, funky, very energetic. Logic is playing with double time flows, gospel vocals. Wale delivers an admirable verse on this track. Ordinary Day, now I heard a lot of people don't like this track, and I understand why. It was definitely a sore thumb on the album, but I enjoyed the laid back feel, the vocals on the hook. It was an ordinary day. I enjoyed this shit. So hey, you can hate me if you want, but I enjoyed this track. Young Sinatra 4, now even though conceptually the track is a little bit all over the place just because of the switch of the content matter halfway through, went from just rapping to talking about money, I think it was still executed well. And I enjoyed all the witty wordplay and metaphors that spawned out of the metaphor about money. And I think it was lyrically some of his best work. So the track was dope, the sample was dope, good to hear him use that sample again. I also enjoyed that he gave credit to Mac Miller, rest in peace to Mac. I know I haven't said anything about it, it's been a minute, but rest in peace to Mac. I enjoyed that he gave credit to Mac Miller for starting the Young Sinatra, or at least inspiring him to start the Young Sinatra series. Iconic, this beat slaps. Dope ass beat. Logic sounds hungrier than ever on this track. Lyrically, he's going in.
It's all logic, lyrical, spitting.
Flow wise, he's going in. The beat is matching the energy. The Jaden Smith feature felt kind of like a name drop, but the track is dope. My favorite track lyrically and beat wise on the album. Last Call, I enjoyed the story behind this track more than anything. I think the story of him starting out, moving from house to house, going to Lenny's basement, them creating the album, getting signed that year. I think that was an incredible story, and I think it's one worth telling. So I really enjoyed the fact that he told it through a track. The fact that it's the last Young Sinatra tape, for him to end it like that, very dope. I enjoyed that. My least favorite tracks, Street Dreams 2. Now, the one thing I'll give credit is to be this creative, to make this whole story, this plot of getting kidnapped, his wife getting kidnapped and having to chase her and all this stuff, I think is incredibly dope. The only thing is just it's a little bit too over the top for me. I like stories to be somewhat believable, and this felt somewhat very unbelievable. That was the one complaint I had on this track. Legacy, now a dope beat on this track. It's actually one of my favorite beats. It sounds like he's gonna go over some deep shit, and he does go over some deep shit on the track. But the thing is, it just structure-wise, it just wasn't executed well. The concept was there, talking about the legacy of somebody who just makes money, but he ignored his family, and then the consequences of that. Now him being on his deathbed, looking back, and the wife and the kid giving the perspective. I get the concept, but it just seemed a little bit too all over the place structure-wise. Overall, honestly, I think it's a pretty good album. It's definitely not my favorite Young Sinatra tape or album, but it's definitely a good addition to the series. I found a handful of tracks that I can go back to and listen to. In comparison to Logic's other albums, studio albums, I think it's up there as far as one of the best. I'd say maybe top 3. So definitely an admirable project from Logic. Now Logic, if you're watching, continue to make tracks, continue to spit lyrically over boom bap tracks. Us original Logic fans definitely enjoy when you do that. We like you over the trap shit, of course, but hearing you over dope boom bap samples is dope. Continue to feature with other artists and collab with other artists. You get some of your best tracks when you collab with other artists. Collabing with Wale and Wu-Tang on this track, or on this album, some of my favorite tracks. So continue to collab with your peers. I think we get dope tracks out of it. With that being said, if I was to give this a rating, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. With that being said, that's all I got to say on this one. Remember to subscribe, comment, like, share the video. Let us know what you want to see next. And we're out, y'all. Peace.